I hope that wasn't meant to be me.
What? That?
You obviously don't like somebody.
Did I do the right thing? What I have set in motion here could destroy everything I have revered my whole life. One day they may write about me as a traitor, a madwoman, a fool, and they may be right.
This Inquisition of yours wasn't the smartest move.
Thank you for the ringing endorsement. My trainers always said, Cassandra, you are too brash. You must think before you act. I see what must be done, and I do it. I see no point in running around in circles like a dog chasing its tail. But I misjudged you in the beginning, did I not? I thought the answer was before me, clear as day. I cannot afford to be so careless again.
There's a lot at stake.
You do not have to tell me that. You've said you don't believe you're chosen. Does that mean you also don't believe in the Maker?
No, I don't.
It must be comforting to be so certain. I have to believe we were put on this path for a reason, even if you do not. Now it simply remains to see where it leads us.
Still got demons pouring out of the rifts. You're worried about the rifts. I understand that.
Master Harrod said we weren't to sell Inquisition blades.
What Harrod doesn't know won't hurt him. Ah, you're awake and out of Lady Cassandra's clutches. And here I paid that little knife ear to inform me the moment you were free. No matter, no matter. Sigrid, honored to meet you. Thank you for all you've done. Hopefully, we'll still do.
What do you think I'll be doing exactly?
Word's already spreading that if anyone can close that blighted thing in the sky, it's you. Anything you need is yours. For a reasonable price, of course. Supplies are a little tight, given the circumstances.
What kind of person stays to run a shop at a time like this?
The kind with nowhere else to go. Those blasted demons destroyed most of my goods. If I stay here, work some contacts, I can start rebuilding. Maybe, just maybe, help you folks out in the process.
You must speak with most everyone here. How are people doing?
Hope and fear in equal measure. No one really knows what it means when an Inquisition is called. Yet, I imagine it's no better for you. You've got my sympathies, for what it's worth.
Can I see what you have for sale?
Of course. My wares are at the table.
So, now that Cassandra's out of earshot, are you holding up all right? I mean, you go from being the most wanted criminal in Thedas to joining the armies of the faithful. Most people would have spread that out over more than one day.
None of this shit should have happened.
You don't know the half of it. For days now, we've been staring at the breach, watching demons and maker knows what fall out of it. Bad for morale would be an understatement. I still can't believe anyone was in there and lived.
If it was that bad, why did you stay? Cassandra said you were free to go.
I like to think I'm as selfish and irresponsible as the next guy, but this... Thousands of people died on that mountain. I was almost one of them. And now there's a hole in the sky. Even I can't walk away and just leave that to sort itself out.
The breach needs to be sealed. The sooner the better.
If it can be sealed, you might want to consider running at the first opportunity. I've written enough tragedies to recognize where this is going. Heroes are everywhere. I've seen that. But the hole in the sky, that's beyond heroes. We're going to need a miracle. Need something?
The red lyrium we found at the temple seemed to upset you.
My brother Bartrand and I sort of discovered red lyrium during an expedition in the deep roads. We located an ancient thaig, so old it barely looked dwarven. There was this idol there made of it. Bartrand brought it back to the surface, and, well, everything's gone downhill from there.
So what is it? Just another kind of lyrium?
The red stuff is lyrium like a dragon is a lizard. It's not just a different color. It has a whole host of weirdness all its own. I've written to every mining cast house in Orzammar. No one's seen this stuff before or knows where it came from.
What makes it special?
Regular lyrium can mess you up pretty badly, but you have to ingest it for that to happen. Red lyrium messes with your mind when you're just near the stuff. You hear singing, get violent, paranoid, and then it does creepy shit. Makes things float, brings statues to life. It also turned Kirkwall's Knight Commander to lyrium. Everyone's been kept at least 100 paces from it since.
How did the red lyrium get in the Temple of Sacred Ashes?
I don't know. So as far as I knew, the only piece to make it to the surface was destroyed. And the location of the thaig it came from is a secret. Did someone find more of it in the deep roads? That's not a cheery thought.
I think that's enough on red lyrium.
Yeah, not really my favorite subject. Need something?
Can I ask you something, Varric?
You want to talk about me? I'm flattered. Also inclined toward extravagant lies.
How do you and Cassandra know each other?
You heard about the Kirkwall Chantry being destroyed? The guy responsible used to be a friend of mine. The Seeker had questions about that, and I had answers.
You from Ferelden? Orlais?
Free Marches, born and raised in Kirkwall. And despite whatever you've heard, no, Kirkwall's not that bad.
I'm not clear on your line of work. You're a merchant?
I'm a businessman. My family has a seat in the Dwarven Merchants Guild. Merchants buy and sell goods. Businessmen buy and sell stores. In my spare time, I manage a spy network, and occasionally, I write books.
Thanks, Varric.
No problem.
You built for them the golden city, the center of creation. Researcher Minave wishes to use some inexpensive spirits.
What for?
She wishes to light creature's corpse on fire to determine whether it is specifically vulnerable to heat. Oh, you know.
Oh, Maker, you were him. You were the herald of Andraste. And you were sent to show us we were wrong to be afraid of the mages. I have always respected magic. I think the Maker blessed your rebellion and... I'm Flitter. Can I get you a drink?
I won't do anything frightening.
If you wanted to close the breach, I wouldn't mind. As I said, I'm Flister. The Inquisition soldiers needed a place to unwind, so Leliana brought me in to set up a tavern. Nothing fancy, but it's safer for the soldiers than looking for trouble in some village.
What can you tell me about this area?
Adan is Haven's apothecary. He's been making potions and tending to the wounded as best he can. Harris is the Inquisition smith. Whatever he can't make you, Thren the quartermaster can probably find. And for anything fancier, you can try buying from Segris. His prices aren't too high. Yes? Oh, there's also Minave. She studies beasts and things, as I understand.
You said Liliana asked you to run an Inquisition tavern. How did you meet?
Some luck, maybe. I managed an inn back in Denerim. When I heard interesting gossip, I passed word to Liliana. Sometimes it was helpful. She asked if I wanted to own my own tavern, and I said yes. I didn't realize she meant this.
Farewell.
Goodbye.
At least we've got Inquisition troops out at Redcliffe, giving those people some real...
It's almost as if Mother Giselle brought the troops out there like our herself.
Soldiers are more used to face the bandits who are preying on the
The chosen of Andraste, a blessed hero sent to save us all.
I've no interest in being a hero. All I want is to find a way to seal this breach.
Pragmatic, but ultimately irrelevant. I've journeyed deep into the Fade in ancient ruins and battlefields to see the dreams of lost civilizations. I've watched as hosts of spirits clash to reenact the bloody past in ancient wars both famous and forgotten. Every great war has its heroes. I'm just curious what kind you'll be.
Time is it? I'm gonna stream for just gonna finish this section and then I'm gonna get off. 3 o'clock in the morning here.
What do you mean ruins and battlefields?
Any building strong enough to withstand the rigors of time has a history. Every battlefield is steeped in death. Both attract spirits. They press against the veil, weakening the barrier between our worlds. When I dream in such places, I go deep into the Fade. I can find memories no other living being has ever seen.
You fall asleep in the middle of ancient ruins. Isn't that dangerous?
I do set wards. And if you leave food out for the giant spiders, they are usually content to live and let live.
I've never heard of anyone going so far into the Fade. That's extraordinary.
Thank you. It's not a common field of study for obvious reasons. Not so flashy as throwing fire or lightning. The thrill of finding remnants of a 1,000-year-old dream? I would not trade it for anything. I will stay there. At least until the breach has been closed.
Was that in doubt?
I am an apostate surrounded by Chantry forces in the middle of a mage rebellion. Cassandra has been accommodating, but you understand my caution.
Cassandra trusts you. She won't let anyone put you into a circle against your will.
Thank you. I appreciate the thought. But now let us hope either the mages or the Templars have the power to seal the breach.
Cool. Let's talk to this douchebag.
Thank you for hurrying with the potions.
Look who's back from the dead. Again.
I don't recall meeting you before.
I'd be surprised if you did. You weren't particularly coherent. Someone had to patch you up after you staggered out of making knows where, though. So, you're welcome.
Until the breach is closed, no one's safe.
True. I'll keep the bandages handy. Name's Adan. I'm in charge of keeping our little band here stocked with potions and elixirs. Not that Seeker Pentagast seems to care whether we've got the supplies to actually do that.
How are your people holding up?
We've got Mother Giselle lending a hand now, which helps. For the ones that need comforting more than actual healing, she's a rock in fast water. Something to cling to.
For a healer, you don't seem particularly nurturing.
I'm not a healer. I'm an alchemist who's forced to play Mother Hen. You want something to burst into flame on contact with the air? Done. Gladly. Patching up wounded soldiers is a waste of my time and talents. But there are a few around who can help.
How do I go about having potions made?
Just take a look there and tell me what you'd like. Find a recipe for something better, I can make that too.
Napalm. I really gotta remember I have that.
Let me know if you need anything.
When will you be able to get us the crafting supplies?
Any circle mate wanting to join needs to speak with Cullen or Cassandra. Apostates too, I suppose. Oh, you're him. Thren. Inquisition Quartermaster. I'm doing what I can to supply this mess. If you find what I need to fill one of my requisitions, I'd appreciate you bringing it in.
What did you mean when you mentioned requisitions?
I'm making this Inquisition run with what we have. But we're not a real army. We're stretched thin on materials. So I've put up a requisition list for anything that could help our people. Here, take a look. You find some iron and a good logging site, maybe Harriet can get our troops better weapons.
What do you do here?
I make sure the Inquisition troops have food in their bellies and iron in their hands. Both are important. Lots of people expecting us to be heroes, marching all day to fight the demons. Turns out heroes need to dig latrines just like everyone else.
How does someone end up as quartermaster for the Inquisition?
I served for Eldon under Tenlogain Mactir, best commanding officer this world has ever seen. After they all turned on him at Denerim, though, there wasn't much use for people who held that opinion. Queen Honora offered my services to the Inquisition. It was a kindness. She knew I supported her father and got me away from the political garbage.
Logain Mactir betrayed the Grey Wardens and his king.
Were you there at Ostagar? I was. King Kaelan overextended his position, and the Grey Wardens were too late lighting a signal. Following the original plan would have gotten everyone killed. Tenlogain made the right decision. I apologize. Sister Liliana told me I shouldn't talk about this. Just forget it.
Farewell.
May it go with you. The Inquisition can use that.
6.
Blessed are the peacekeepers, the champions of the just. Blessed are the righteous, the lights in the shadow. In their blood, the Maker's will is written. Is that what you want from us? Blood. To die so that your will is done? Is death your only blessing? You speak for Andraste, no? What does the Maker's prophet have to say about all of this? What's his game?
How is this a game?
Do you see the sky? What about the temple ruins? The bones lying in the dust? Even if you didn't support the Divine's peace, you wouldn't call this right. Who could? So many innocent lives. The faithful murdered where the holiest of holies once stood. If the Maker willed this, what is it if not a game or a cruel joke?
Awful things happen every day. Get used to it.
Get used to being a pawn? To be discarded when the Maker's done with you? The chantry teaches that the Maker abandoned us. He demands repentance for our sins. He demands it all. Our lives, our deaths. Justinia gave him everything she had, and he let her die.
People are killed all the time.
If the Maker doesn't intervene to save the best of his servants, what good is he? I used to believe I was chosen, just as some say you are. I thought I was fulfilling his purpose for me, working with the Divine, helping people. But now she's dead. It was all for nothing. Serving the Maker meant nothing.
This has nothing to do with me.
You're right. I shouldn't have let you see me like this. It was a moment of weakness. It won't happen again. Come, to work then. We will speak later.
Your kind killed the most holy. Lies. Your kind let her die. Shut your mouth, mage!
Enough!
Knight Captain.
That is not my title. We are not Templars any longer. We are all part of the Inquisition.
And what does that mean exactly?
Back already, Chancellor. Haven't you done enough?
I'm curious, Commander, as to how your Inquisition and its herald will restore order as you've promised.
Of course you are. Back to your duties, all of you.
Douche.
Mages and Templars were already at war. Now they're blaming each other for the Divine's death.
Which is why we require a proper authority to guide them back to order.
Who? You? Random clerics who weren't important enough to be at the Conclave?
The Rebel Inquisition and its so-called Herald of Andraste? I think not.
If the proper authority hadn't completely failed, the Conclave wouldn't have been needed.
So you suggest I blame the Chantry and exalt a murderer? What of justice?
That won't help restore order in the here and now.
Order will never be restored so long as this rebellion is allowed to fester.
Well, let's hope we find solutions, and not a cathedral full of chancellors.
The stuff of nightmares.
Mock, if you will. I'm certain the Maker is less amused.
Douche. Sounds like something else. And they're going down there just yet. They can't open anything there anyway.
Wishes to verify that the infections have decreased in number. Yes. Thank you for your help. Tell me, are you happy this way? With everything you feel and dream cut away? I no longer talk to dragons. I see.
Fire. Fire. Lightning's awesome. But ice. Cold. Witch's grasp. Blistering pain. Yeah. Use that one.
Greetings, Herald of Andraste. How fares your quest to seal the breach?
Not as well as it should. How can people focus on trivialities when faced with the breach?
It is easy for us to imagine that mundane matters fall aside in tumultuous times. The Chant of Light does not speak of feeding troops or arranging meetings or any such mundane concerns. But every organizational detail you contend with, Andraste herself once faced. These trivialities are steps on your path to victory, even if history never remembers them.
I thought I made it clear that I'm not the Herald of Andraste.
I understand. Whatever you believe, there remains a task to be done. If the faith of the people is nothing but a tool, then I beg you to use it well. We will all perish if you do not. In any case, I pray this Inquisition proves less brutal than its predecessor.
Can you tell me about the original Inquisition?
The original Inquisition was formed after the First Blight, well before the Chantry as we know it. The Inquisitors were hunters, zealots, who tracked and killed cultists and dangerous mages. As Andraste rose to power, the Inquisition came into her service. Instead of hunting those who would do harm, the Inquisitors spread the Chant of Light by force.
It must be difficult to follow the Chant of Light, knowing how it spread.
Indeed. I have always believed that the Maker wished us to spread the Chant of Light by example, not violence. In any case, Once the chant of light had spread far and wide, there was less need for zealots. The Inquisitors became the seekers of truth, and eventually the Templars.
And now the Inquisition has been called again to restore order. By force.
Do you know what impresses me most about the original Inquisition? They fought horrific battles, killed and died for their cause, and when it was time, they put their swords away. Perhaps the name was divine, Justinia's message, that when the Inquisition is needed, it will strike without mercy. But when its work is done, it will put its sword away.
Do you know who the Grand Clerics will choose as the next divine?
It is a difficult decision. All the obvious candidates perished with divine Justinia at the Conclave. The Grand Clerics are terrified of the Inquisition. They will not decide soon, and I fear they will not decide wisely. Whoever is chosen needs the Inquisition's support. No one else seems likely to seal the breach.
I don't believe I've had the chance to speak candidly with a revered mother. Can you tell me about the Chantry?
I presume you mean deeper questions about the organization itself. Even in the circle at Ostwick, you should have been taught the basics.
What is your stance on magic?
Andraste put it simply. Magic must serve man, not rule over him. However, those words must be put into the proper historical context. Andraste led a rebellion against the Tevinter Imperium, whose magisters controlled most of the world at the time. Even then, she never called for all mages to be put to death. She believed in peaceful coexistence.
I don't recall the Chantry being as tolerant of magic as you describe.
No. The Chantry is an imperfect vessel, pulled in every direction by those who would steer its course. Yet the Templars rebelled precisely because divine Justinia was not restrictive enough. Perhaps the Inquisition will find a better way.
Why does the Chantry allow only human women to become priestesses?
The official doctrine is that elves and dwarves have turned further from the Maker than humanity. And as for men, the chant holds that they are more vulnerable to anger or passion. But in truth, it is simply political, added after Andraste's death, like too many of our beliefs.
If you don't believe these restrictions are what Andraste wanted, why haven't you tried to change them?
Has the current state of the world not taught you the folly of fighting too many battles at once? I chose to use what power I had to help peasants forgotten by the nobles of Orlais. I believed there would be time to address their inequality under the Chantry once we had saved them from starving.
There were calls for an exalted march to put down the Mage Rebellion. What was your opinion?
It was ignorant gossip. An exalted march only succeeds when it carries the will of the people. Even then, it cannot be undertaken lightly. People are too easily frightened. We cannot destroy everything they fear. An exalted march is justified only against a true threat to this whole world. It is an offense to the Maker to use it as a political bludgeon, or as a means of spreading the chant of light.
What about the exalted march that conquered the elves?
That is a hotly debated matter in some circles of the Chantry. The elves had conquered Monsignor and threatened Val Rayo itself. They were not helpless victims. But even then, Orlais was the only nation to provide troops. It was hardly an exalted march of all the faithful. The Maker wishes his world to spread by example, not by war. We win no converts with blood.
The Inquisition cannot remain oppressive if you can't prove it was founded on Justinia's orders.
This is an inopportune time, Marquis. More of the faithful flock here each day. But allow me to introduce you to the brave soul who risked his life to slow the magic of the breach. Sir Trevelyan, may I present the Marquis d'Aurelion, one of Divine Justinia's greatest supporters.
And the rightful owner of Haven. House d'Aurelion lent Justinia these lands for pilgrimage. This Inquisition is not a beneficiary of this arrangement.
This is the first I've heard of Haven having an owner outside the Chantry.
My wife, Lady Machin of Denver, has claimed to Haven by ancient treaty with the monarchs of Ferelden. We were honored to lend this use to Divine Justinia. She was a woman of supreme merit. I will not let an upstart order remain on her holy grounds.
Demons are pouring from the sky, and you're worried about land claims.
Haven is the d'Aurelion's rightful property.
Has Empress Selene officially acknowledged your possession of Haven? I was unaware Her Imperial Majesty had conferred with Ferelden's monarchs on this matter.
The Empress has not yet had the opportunity to do so.
We face a dark time, Your Grace. Divine Justinia would not want her passing to divide us. She would, in fact, trust us to forge new alliances to the benefit of all, no matter how strange they might seem.
I'll think on it, Lady Montillier. The Inquisition might stay in the meanwhile.
Do the d'Aurelions actually have a claim on this place?
His Grace's position is not so strong as he presents it. Despite our Ferelden relations, the d'Aurelions are our legion. If the Marquis wishes to claim Haven, Empress Selene must negotiate with the Ferelden on his behalf. Her current concerns are a bit larger than minor property disputes.
His Grace was all bluster then.
Even should he leave, the Marquis will share his thoughts on us upon his return to Val Royeaux. Every guest we receive, and we will receive them, will spread the Inquisition's story. An ambassador should ensure the tale is as complimentary as possible.
May I ask what brought you to work for the Inquisition?
Sister Leliana approached me. We've been acquainted for quite some time. For better or worse, being the Inquisition's diplomat has become as interesting as she promised.
What sort of dealings have you had with nobility?
For some years, I was the royally appointed court ambassador from Antiva to Orlais. The nobility of Thedas is a rather singular sphere. Those I'm not acquainted with, I know through reputation.
The Inquisition is lucky to have you as an advocate, Lady Montillier.
Thank you. Let us hope so. Thedas' politics have become agitated as of late. I hope to guide us down smoother paths. But please excuse me. I've much work to do before the day is done. You're the Herald. Or, well, the one they're calling the Herald, anyway. It's odd to see them accepting a mage as their hero. First, we're too dangerous to let out of the circles. And then we're apostate rebels. But they seem to like you. My name is Maeve. I research demons and other creatures. Seeker Pentagast and I use what I find to help the soldiers fight them.
I found something the demons left behind. Can you use it?
Yes, that's very helpful. Just leave it there and the Tranquil and I will examine it. That will help.
What's up? What's up? What's wrong? Hmm? Oy, oy, oy. Sorry. What's up, girl? Hmm? Don't worry, I'm about to get off. Ugh.
These truths the Maker has revealed.
Apparently my cat's telling me it's time to get off. Oh, operation missions. Yay. Let's see, I got 2 perks. Which one is the one? No. It's secrets. Yes. Must acquire that one. And not in that big of a hurry to get that one. A % increase in XP. Yeah, I'll take that. Let's go for Elden. I gathered the coin. Good night. I'll let Josephine deal with that one.
At your service.
And like Corium. No forces there. Yeah, she better take care of that one.
work?
Okay, break, and thank you for watching my stream. I am going to go ahead and pass out already. I've been up way too long. Feel free to subscribe. I'll be back again tomorrow evening or afternoon, hopefully. Yeah, I really gotta stop saying it sounds terrible. Either way, I want to thank you for watching my stream and encourage you to follow me on Twitch or on YouTube or via the PS4. We'll begin an Xbox One very, very shortly. There we go again. Get an Xbox One very shortly for Christmas. So I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching my stream. Thanks. Peace.